Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined today by my lovely, lovable co-host with the co-most. It's Sara Levine, folks.
Hello. How's it going?
Whoo, I'm a bit of a mess, and I
Who
apologize
isn't?
because I was like, hey, Sara, I'm not really ready to record. I don't have my verdicts prepared. I don't have anything prepared. My hair looks insane. Good
Whatever.
morning.
I feel like it
This,
always takes us a good 30 minutes to get started. So,
I know.
what's the difference? Whether it's my USB-C not plugged in or your verdicts, like what difference does it make?
Technology. It makes us strong, but also weak at the same time.
Facts.
It's crazy stuff. But Sara, you were telling me, I'm excited about this, that you were a bit of a Karen this weekend. Oh boy.
Here's the thing. Like when I told my one friend, she kind of laughed at me and felt it was a little Karen-y, but I know you're not going to think that it was Karen-y at all. But so I've started getting these, like, I don't know if they're migraines or stress headaches or like lingering COVID symptoms. I don't really know what they are, but they're headaches, and I'm a little bit sensitive to like kind of light and sound. So with that in mind, I was like walking home from class Wednesday night, and it's probably like 8:45 or 8:30, I guess. And I live basically like one avenue removed from like a busy avenue where there's like just a lot happening, like a lot of bars and stuff and whatever. So I'm walking by, there's this ice cream truck that is fucking like blaring its jingle. It's also not the typical ice cream truck jingle. It's like some bootleg jingle that is it's not
Remix.
like do 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 do. Like that's a common one. I don't remember
It's
what this
like
one
do do
was.
do 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 do.
Oh my God, that would be sick. That would be sick. No, I wish.
Beatbox bit.
Anyway, it's some bootleg jingle, probably because it's like some shitty ice cream. No Mr. Softy.
It's all sad.
Right? It's just like whatever. And this shit is like giving me a headache. Like, and I walk past whatever. I'm walking home. I walk past the busy avenue. I get to my house. I go inside, and this ice cream music is still so loud that it is like blaring into my skull, and all my windows are closed. I go into my room, which is like a good 50 or so feet back from my front door. I can still hear this music loud as, like, I don't know, clear as day, loud
Yeah.
as anything. Not like, oh, I can still kind of faintly make it out. Like, no, it sounds like I'm playing it from inside my apartment.
Oh
And this
my
is going on for like
God.
20 minutes straight, by the way. It's looping
No.
constantly. And I'm like, wow, this is my villain origin story, like psychosis. Like this is how it happens. And this is going on for 20 straight minutes. And it's 9 o'clock at this point. And I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like 9 o'clock is a little bit late. Like if you guys are not stopping at 9 o'clock, like
Ice cream? Yeah, for an ice cream truck,
yeah.
children should not be scurrying about at that late at night.
Right. I'm like, who's awake? I mean, what kids are awake and buying ice cream? And like, also, do you need to assault them with the music? Like, no. So I'm like, God, what do I fucking do? I call 311. I'm like, I can't take this. Like, I can't have this going on all night.
Call
Also, I'd wanted
311.
to go to bed early, by the way, because, I wasn't sleeping. So yeah, I call 311 and I'm like, I know this is like really weird, but I have to like make a noise complaint about this ice cream truck. And the guy's like, you know what? It's actually not that weird. And he goes, where do you live? And I tell him, and he's like, we've gotten a lot of complaints about this ice cream truck. And I'm like, oh,
What?
thank God. Yes, that's how loud it was. And like
Repeat
how
offender.
persistent. Yeah. So they're like, they're like, someone from the EPA is going to come out and measure the noise decibels or something and then issue a citation.
Oh my God.
I'm like, all right, that doesn't seem like it's going to solve my problem tonight, but whatever, I guess. Like, I was just glad that I wasn't crazy. I'm like, I can't be the only person who thinks this is extremely excessive.
Yeah, and you kind of live in a pretty residential part of Queens, don't you? It's not
Yeah.
super, like, it's not like a crazy busy street, right?
I mean, I live off of one of the more busy streets, but it's still not like being in Manhattan or anything like that. And I live like a good avenue removed. So by that point, it's like I shouldn't be able to hear any noise that's happening on the main block.
This is not going to cross into Karen territory. I thought you were going to say you went up to the truck and you just
I was
started.
going to do that. I was like, I don't know, if 311 didn't like pan out or something, I was going to like go fucking hunting for this truck to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I'll confess to something I've been ruminating about neurotically. I mean, I think when I was at this hotel in Miami recently, there's a lot of street noise. And
Yeah.
I had this thought, that like, these people will honk at 4 a.m.
So
And
annoying.
it's like, I'm pretty sure you just woke up a whole hotel of people. I think a lot,
Right.
like 95% of people would have woken up to that.
And what traffic do you even have at 4 a.m.? Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's like you're a monster. And I think a lot of people aren't conscious of, honks and their devastating power. They are weapons
So annoying.
at night, And so anyway, there was this one time where we've been talking about sleeplessness and all these things. I was on a cruise with some friends. This is way before COVID. Like this
Yeah.
is a million years ago. And it was the two of them in beds or in a bed, and then I had the couch bed, and I had a cough, and I get these coughs in the
Mm.
winter. I haven't had a cough in forever, I guess, from all the masks, but
Mm.
usually get a nice little winter cough, just a fun little personality trait. And
It's like my spring sinus infection every year, like clockwork.
exactly. So I took a couple Benadryl, so I'm like drowsy, and I'm coughing, and I finally, after like an hour, just finally pass out. And I think I was coughing in my sleep. So I woke up my friend, and he like, next thing I know, he's like kind of barking at me. So he wakes me up,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on Benadryl. So I'm like I'm kind of messed up. I'm just like
Yeah.
confused. I don't know what's happening. And I was so frustrated that I just like yelled at the top of my lungs. Um,
Holy shit.
yeah, it was an insane thing to do. And then, and I don't really know the order of all this, but like at some point I was worried he was going to attack me. So I went out on the balcony, and I was like really afraid. And I think we were both like just two like half asleep monsters that were being sleep
Holy shit.
deprived. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? And so I was like so uncomfortable on the balcony that I just basically had to leave. And so I left, and I slept in the solarium, which is like the glass enclosed top of the cruise. And I slept on like
Oh my
a
gosh.
deck chair. And then I was just having all this guilt. This happened in 2018. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I probably woke up so many people when I screamed, and I'm such a monster.
Probably
And then I
not.
was like, literally, MFs be honking on Miami Beach every night at 4 a.m. because I don't know, they saw their friend or some weird
Insane.
random.
Yeah.
And like, it's crazy because it is honestly like, in terms of, it's not illegal, really. I mean, like, kind of
Some
technically, but
places have laws about that. I think even some areas of the city, like they'll fine
yeah,
you.
they'll fine you. I've never seen it. Nobody, how do you enforce
Right.
that? Right. What, are you gonna have a cop sitting there, sound cop? It's
Yeah.
like,
The guy, whoever is from the EPA measuring the decibel of the ice cream truck
ridiculous. I mean,
is
it's the
sitting out
most
there.
over-engineered solution. Like that's never going to work. And it's really, this
Yeah.
is a problem. It's happening in society. Nobody's dying, but it's really annoying. It makes our lives worse. And so I'm putting it out there, and I'm not saying I'm not guilty of it. I am, but watch your sound.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
are sleeping. I went by
Yeah.
this apartment complex in LA by kind of popping off street. And I was like, be quiet. Our neighbors are sleeping, which I actually kind of was annoyed by, because I was like, why not we just say we're sleeping? The sign is speaking for the building. We're sleeping, folks.
Hmm,
What
whatever.
neighbors? But I guess maybe the businesses put it up because the neighbors complain. So
Yes. I think that's why.
don't honk if you don't need to honk. And really only honk, I think. I honestly, let me throw this out,
Honking like
Sarah.
never solves anything.
Honking is a YTA. You don't honk. You don't honk on a soft. You don't honk on a soft one. If someone's making a mistake and they know it's a mistake, there's no need to go crazy.
How do you know what they know? Like,
I think you can feel it. Like, when someone's being a dick, like you see them speed up and like try to pass a long line of cars, and then they get in. That's a fair honk, if you ask me. It's like
no, I fucking hate that.
you can sense their vibe, usually. I'm saying don't honk if it's like clearly a mistake. If they're doing an asshole thing, and they should have
Mhm.
done the mistake differently, then yes. But I think honking equals YTA. I'm putting that out there.
I hate honking. It never solves anything. Like, I mean, where I live, there's always just it's always just backed up. Like, I don't know, what do you want to do? It's a busy street. Sometimes they close the street, to do like the open streets program or whatever, and people will just blare on their horns. And it's like, the person in front of you isn't like they're not just stopped in the middle of an intersection for fun. Like,
That's a criminal honk. When
they're
people honk because there's
clearly,
traffic,
yeah, it's like they're backed up. It's the whole thing, the person in front of them, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're
that's
not going
boomer
to
shit.
accomplish anything.
That's boomer shit.
I know.
Just
I hate that.
everybody in front of us has the wrong mindset. That's why there's traffic.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
I feel like
Relax.
I'll just honk when I'm like, hey, like, if someone's about to do something crazy and they don't see me, you're like, hey, I'm here. Don't fucking hit me.
Yes. A safety honk is great. I think,
Yeah.
okay, if someone's like at a green light and they're not going right away, that's when you give them what I
Like a little
call
tap.
a bop honk. Little bop.
Yeah.
Not
Like a beep.
not
Yeah, but New
a
Yorkers take it so fucking far. It'll be like a quarter of a millisecond, and if you haven't gunned it through the intersection yet, they're like, "Wah," and it's like, all right,
it's ridiculous.
relax. Like, I don't, my response time is not that fast. I'm sorry.
See, and now this is where I'm divided, Sarah, because I'm on this subreddit, idiots in cars. I don't
Love
know
it.
why I love this subreddit so much.
I
It's
love idiot
literally
shaming.
people. It's AITA for cars, basically, except they're
Yes,
almost all YTAs. And this is where I guess I'm divided. This guy drives like a Geo Metro or some piece of shit, and he
I don't know
installed
what
a
that
train
is.
horn. A Geo Metro, it's a kind of car you can like kick over with a good solid. If you're taking kickboxing classes, you can just like kick a Geo Metro and it'll like roll. It's like a tiny little smart car.
Why would you drive one of those?
People go because they park easily in the city because they're like little tiny cubicle cars. They're
Mm,
tiny.
okay. I mean, at what
So
cost? But all
he
right.
got a train horn and was like almost about to get like obliterated. He hits the train horn and like, people wake up and don't hit the car. But like
Okay.
I am pretty much ready to say
Why
global
can't he just?
YTA.
Yeah. Why can't he just get a regular horn?
Get a regular horn.
It
Unless
comes
you
with the car, I assume. Like, why did you have to modify the car?
I mean, I don't know. They're very tiny cars, so I kind of understand part of it.
So
But
you think
like
it's like a beep beep is the horn because the
yeah,
car is
some of
tiny?
them are like meep meep. You're like, is that the Roadrunner
Yeah.
from Acme? Because I can barely hear that. I'm running this thing over, and now
That's
someone in
funny.
a Geo Metro is a pancake. But I just think the train horn shit, enough, enough.
I've
I don't
never
know.
heard that.
You've never heard a train horn in New York City?
Not on a car.
Oh, you're so lucky. Oh my God, you're so lucky. I've had
This
I've
is
had
the
them
thing?
blare by me multiple times in the city. I'm like, my
Oh,
man,
that's
you are
annoying.
blaring a train horn in New
That's
York
super
City.
weird.
Even if it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon, because it's New York, you just woke up like 4,000 celebrities and they
Yeah.
need their sleep too. I mean, they're kind of assholes for being asleep at this time, but
Yeah.
fuck the train horn. And the thing is, nobody listens. This is a male thing. I think I'm ready to do it. I know the gender essentialist crew might attack me for this, but I feel like I'm on safe ground here. Anytime someone drives a loud car, the muffler motherfuckers,
I hate that shit.
what do
Was
you do?
like "Brr, brr, 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 brr," and you think someone's having a fucking shootout or something. Or
Exactly.
you think
No,
it's a motorcycle, but it's just some jackass in his car.
nobody likes you, mate.
I
Nobody
hate
thinks
that.
that hot. I don't think. I mean, I think I'm on good ground here. Nobody has ever fucked a guy because he has a loud vehicle.
I
That's just not
hope not.
okay.
I truly hope not. I feel like honestly, it's such a almost stereotype at this point of how unappealing that is. So I do think you're on safe ground there.
Sociopathic, absolute YTA. Shout out to all our respectful, kind drivers. It's
Yes.
important, you
Yes.
know? It's the most crazy thing we do. We work together to drive and we could easily kill each other in our car. So we could also just go a little farther and make driving a nice, pleasant experience. Understand that some people can't parallel park and give me a chance. I'm obviously trying my best. You think I'm bad at parallel parking to fuck with you, bro? You think I'm embarrassing myself here as a bit? I'm trying to nail this. I'm sorry I'm holding it up. I didn't design Los Angeles,
Oh my
okay? I
god, yeah.
didn't.
I do not miss parallel parking. I would pay for parking just to avoid having to parallel park.
It's and here's the thing about it. Every time I think I've got it good, I like relapse and it's like back to square one. I
Yeah.
thought I got it. I thought I
No.
had a system. I was like, here's my new system. Don't use the rear view cam, use your eyes because your eyes, they can
The
see
original rear view camera.
the original, right? Well, that's how I trained, and I trained in a minivan, but in Arizona
Yes.
where, the only reason you parallel park is because you're learning the definition of perpendicular. Like there's no reason to do it.
Yeah,
So,
it's funny.
people are honking, and they need to stop and be quiet. I think quiet hours start at 9. Global quiet hours, 9 p.m. I think that's fair. Be respectful.
9, 10, somewhere in that area.
Well, see,
For
now
ice
you're
cream
pushing New
trucks, it's
York.
9.
I can give a New York exception. Quiet hours start at 10 in New York. That's
Yeah.
that's fair. New York is a
Once
late
people
night
start
town.
pre-gaming, I think you can do the quiet hours, but, like, earlier than that is a little too much.
New York is crazy because New York's like, "Are you going out tonight?" You're like, "It's 11:30 p.m." And they're like, "Yeah, we're
And you're
gonna
like,
go out in like
"Maybe."
20 minutes."
Right.
It's
You're kinda
it's
like, at
midnight.
12 o'clock, you're like, "Where should we go?" Nuts. I mean, I still used to do that in Atlanta, and the bars would close at, like, 2:30, so
Wow.
crazy. I think it's just the mindset.
That's what's cool about you, Sarah. You're not like me. I'm like, I don't drink. And then, by the way, just hit 8 years sober. Throwing that 8 years no
Oh my god.
drinking. 8 years no drinking. They say.
Congrats. That's great.
But you're cool because you have you party, you go hard, but then you're also the master's student, the career woman. You're just a very well-rounded individual.
Thank you. I mean, I think I'm drinking less. Well, obviously because of the pandemic, I'm drinking less.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to drink less in general because, like, it's not so. I mean, it's fun, but like, I think the point at which it stops being fun gets like lower and lower the longer I'm alive.
I truly don't miss it. And if
Yeah.
anyone's looking to drink less and wants to know my secrets, I read this book that basically convinces you that alcohol doesn't make any sense. It's called The Easy Way to Control
I mean, it's
Alcohol.
a poison, like literally.
It's a poison, and
No, it straight up
drinking
is.
a relatively small amount will kill you, just like any other poison. I mean, you don't really have to drink that much, and you could die.
Of alcohol
Um,
poisoning?
yeah, that's why it's a poison.
Fair, but I do feel like you had to drink a considerable amount.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not like
Not like 2 drinks is gonna get you alcohol
no,
poisoning.
no, but I mean, it is a poison in the sense that if you drink enough, you just straight up die.
Yeah.
Whereas like Mountain Dew, you could really put down 4 liters in a day. I don't think you're gonna feel good. You're going to
No.
feel. You
You'll
might
kill your
actually.
sperm, but, like, you won't kill
Yeah.
yourself.
Does Mountain Dew kill sperm? Because then I might be
I
sterile.
think that was the
Because
whole thing that we learned in the '90s along with Marilyn Manson got rib removed to suck his own dick, but the latter is not true.
whoa.
Isn't that like, you learn, like, 3 things in middle school, like, every kid. You learn how
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do the
yeah,
S, you
yeah.
learn the Mountain Dew thing.
Right.
Uh,
So I've read a Reddit thread since you brought us here, and we're a Reddit pod where
oh god.
where men did attempt to do this. You don't hear about
Get
women
their
doing
ribs
it.
removed?
No, not the ribs removed, just trying to, S your own.
Oh,
S
that's
your own
funny.
D, S your own P. Are women trying this? I'm not hearing about it.
I
Women are much more
don't think anyone
flexible.
can be that flexible.
I
Well,
like
I'm
your
not.
odds.
I don't know. First of all, I can't even touch my toes, so
Oh, me neither. It's bad. It's
yeah,
bad.
but I don't think
I can't
that's a
kiss my
thing.
own arm. That's how
What
inflexible
do
I
you
am.
mean?
No, I'm joking, but I think
Oh.
that I can't look. Watch everybody. Mwah, there, I kissed it. But what
I
I'm
thought
trying
you
to
were going
say.
for, like, how you can't lick your own elbow or something, but,
Oh
like,
God, no! I can't
I
lick
don't
my
even
own
come
elbow.
close.
That's just
We're gonna get
imagine.
negative reviews, like, what are they talking about on this podcast now?
We put in the skips, but here's what it is, Sarah. I read this thread. And some guys can S their own D if they have a
Good for them.
if they have the XL edition. Um, And guess what? It's
What?
actually I don't think it's good because
It's like you
what
can't tickle yourself.
you can't tickle yourself vibes. And also, this is what a lot of men need to internalize. It's a lot of work. And so it
So
ends
much
up,
work.
you kind of break even there. You think it's a good deal, but it's really not. That's
I
what I've
mean,
read.
I feel like that's the thing with 69ing. You're like, you can half enjoy it, but you're half focused. And it's like,
Yep.
would rather just let loose.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of Honestly, anyone who says, "Let's bring numbers into sex," it's like, is that really where we're gonna go with this?
True. I don't know any other numbered position, but I'll go with you on that.
I'll drop this though, since you brought us on this sexual note. I got some spicy DMs from a listener, and that shit has never happened. And I mean, this is someone I didn't know. Boom, spicy DMs, and I was like,
Wow.
"Holy shit, this is the greatest moment of my life."
Love that for you.
Unprompted spicy DMs. We love to see it, folks. Hint,
Wow.
hint.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
Damn.
so crazy, man. I mean,
Yeah.
if anyone's watching on the Spotify video, I promise you they're gonna be like, I am not sending Danny spicy DMs. He looks like a fucking hobbit. He needs a haircut. Anyway, we get
Uh,
it. Wow, we went some places. Shouts to our new patrons: D, Hannah, Chelsea, Mia, Clementine, Karis, Paige, Valerie, Kaylee, Caitlin, and a very special shout out to our extra contributing supporters, Patty, Carolyn, and Sophia. Thank you so much to all you all. And a friendly reminder to join the Patreon, subscribe to the newsletter, join us on Twitch. We're actually broadcasting this live. Now that's fun. The
yeah.
internet gives us power. Oh, this could be the future, this internet thing. All right, folks. We're going to do a little bit of Guess the Verdict. AITA for saying, I just hope that you are proud of yourself to my niece when I lost my job after she reported the company I worked for.
Damn. What does he work for? Enron?
Hmm.
After she report, I hope you're proud of yourself. I mean, I'm probably going to go with the YTA. Like, she seems like she was doing the right thing. The company was probably doing something immoral if they got reported.
Solid analysis, but I think I got you this time.
Damn it.
So OP got his niece hired at a horrible factory job, like literally doing the most worst things ever.
That
Unpaid
sucks.
overtime, random
No.
hours, just whatever, a nightmare and a half. But OP needs this job.
So he got her a job at Amazon.
Yeah, right. Hell and a half. Niece works there and then, observes all these blatant things, ends up reporting to all the authorities. And OP's like, please don't do that because that can have unintended consequences. I got you hired here. So anything you do will kind of look back on me. And I need this job. Like, I think he has like 4 kids or something like that. Company lets a lot of people go because they're in the spotlight, including OP,
That
including
seems like
niece.
retaliation. OP, you got a lawyer.
There may be a case. Hey, I'm with you. But here's the thing, though, and I think OP's right here. Niece keeps texting paragraph after paragraph about how what she did was right.
All right,
And
enough.
then OP was like, okay, I just hope that you're proud of yourself. OP's not happy
Okay.
because now he doesn't have income.
Right.
And she keeps texting.
Okay, that's annoying.
And the verdict went NAH, surprisingly. I'm almost ready to YTA her a little bit, or
A
NTA it,
little
I should
bit,
say,
because it's
because it's
like, all
like,
right, you did your thing. Now,
exactly.
you if you really stand by what you did, just stop over defending yourself to someone who doesn't want to fucking hear it. Like,
Exactly. Like, this person did not really beg you to not have this outcome happen. And honestly, I think Niece did the right thing, but then insisting that she be validated by this particular person,
right.
I that's starting to push into that Tory for me.
I agree.
Um, so top comment, what your did niece is right. It just means you suffered. Your niece is now learning that her actions have consequences to other people. It's unfortunate what happened, and deep down, I think the asshole is the company. Your niece did the right thing, but being right and being employed are 2 different things in the real world. And I also think
Facts.
heroes can shut up. Let me say that part of being a hero is shutting up. Discretion is the better part of
Discretion is,
valor.
damn it, you beat me to it.
There we go. Did you see it on TV? You shared that you saw it
Yes,
on
Better
TV.
Call Saul. I was like,
There
oh
we
my
go.
God. I made Ryan like stop and rewind it so I could film it and then send it to the Discord.
That feels good because I'm a huge Bob Odenkirk fan, and actually
I
I've
love
stolen a
him.
joke from him from a Sarah Silverman special, which is
What's the joke?
it's just that Sarah says she doesn't want Fiji. She wants only Fiji water. And he just goes, Diva alert. And I just have used Diva alert and other kinds of alerts
Oh,
for literally decades. So shouts to
I
Bob
don't think he
Odenkirk.
made
Big
that
fan.
up. So I think you're
Diva
in the
alert.
clear.
Diva
That's
alert.
funny.
Long
All right. Well,
Island. Long Island
speaking
girl
of,
alert.
but,
That's you.
speaking of divas, potentially, AITA for my reasons of no plus ones on my wedding, causing several people not to attend.
Interesting. I mean, this sounds very familiar because we just had the sheriff at the wedding debacle where I learned a
God,
lot of states have cops at weddings by de jour, if I
that
if
was
I can
nuts.
get
Yeah.
fancy. by law. So what did this OP require? People dropped out. Well, people dropping out isn't even an indicator to me. People have the freedom to drop out. You can break up with anyone for any reason, and you can break up with any wedding for any reason. And for these reasons, I'm going no assholes here.
Well, here's the thing. These reasons
Mm.
were bonkers. These are
Mm.
OP's criteria for who gets a +1.
Yikes.
Number one, both OP's fiance and OP know of your partner and have met them. If I know your partner and my
Hmm.
fiance doesn't, that disqualifies them and vice versa. Number
That's
two,
dicey
that's number
territory.
one. We have four
That's
of
just
these.
one.
That's just
There's
one. Number two,
four.
yes. Number two, if I personally go to dinner with you and your partner. Number three, if
Okay.
I'd invite your partner as a separate person anyway, not just because they're your partner.
Well, that's obvious. I mean, clearly three would apply.
Number four, if your partner is also a friend of mine. And this excludes long-term relationships, engaged couples, and even married couples.
Okay, I'm ready. I first of all, they're the asshole because these criteria are very redundant. I feel like one pretty much covered our bases. This was unnecessarily spelled out. Um, this is ridiculous and stupid.
Completely. I mean, we could cover it in a situation, but it's completely ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't attend. Also, like, I don't know, what the fuck is that? You're it's kind of basically like, if you don't let me bring my significant other, I know you don't like them. And what the fuck is that about?
Well, it's also this rigidity of like, well, dude, part of a wedding is like you're gonna meet people's fiancés, SOs that you just haven't met for whatever reason because life is a complicated tapestry.
Right.
So,
Or
like,
like,
what the
what
fuck
if
is your
you've
problem?
it's kind of crazy if she's met them, but she's like, oh, but I don't want to like go to dinner with them. Like, that's rude as fuck.
Yeah, I think in this case, it was like, here's the thing. Sometimes stating a casual rule is a bad look. Sometimes the rule needs to make a little bit more sense, right? Like, look, I had a friend who didn't invite me to who didn't allow me a +1 because he said engaged couples end up. So you have to be engaged or married.
Fair.
And I was a little huffy because I was like, dude, you know what? I've actually been dating my girl longer than the person you're marrying. And I made
Okay,
that
that does
comparison.
suck.
It sucked and it was annoying, but you know what? I didn't feel treated unfairly. I was like, that's your rule. You made your rule and fuck it. That's your rule, dog. And you're applying the rule to me. And even though the spirit of the rule I feel could be more fair because God, I've been with her longer. But in the end, I think sometimes having a rule like that is more fair than, well, whether or not I know you. It's like,
Right. Or whether I would get dinner with you outside of this wedding. Like, that's I mean, that's so unnecessarily harsh. And of course people are gonna stop show or not are gonna back out when they learn of this rule. Um
absolutely. I mean,
so
you're not inviting people who are engaged. That's also kind of
and married. Like,
yeah, no, that's
sorry, I don't
crazy.
want to
That's
get dinner with
crazy.
your husband, so he's out. Like, what?
That's the whole thing with and this person also doesn't understand marriage because, and look, don't be mad at me people, but I think this is fair to say. Married people, they kind of like roll as a crew. Like
They have to. That's their
once
thing.
right? And then it's
It's
like
kind of their thing.
then all your friends are like your couple friends and and it's really exhausting and all now you're playing Dungeons and Dragons and you're in your board game group or whatever. And look, that's fine if you want to be married and be boring. I go for it. It's personally not my cup of tea. I'm being boring in different ways. So
We all have our things.
fuck this OP. AITA for not being happy that my sister is pregnant again.
I feel like I read this one and it was like a situation where OP has like struggled to get pregnant and the sister has been really insensitive every single time.
Mm.
Um my gut wants to go NaH because like how could the sister be the asshole? But
Mm.
I don't know if you do two NaHs in a row.
Scooby-Doo?
All right, Scooby Doo, enough. Okay, wait, can you read the title again?
AITA for not being that my sister is pregnant again.
Not being excited. It's kind of like, can you be excited for your feelings?
Mm.
Or, can you be the asshole for your feelings? And what would make her the asshole?
Right.
Maybe if she like announced it at their wedding. Ooh, I'm gonna just go with NTA. It's what I feel in my gut.
Wow. I have to ding you for literally all the wrong reasons, but you did get the verdict.
Okay.
Well done. So the sister got knocked up by her boyfriend right out of high school. Now she has four at 24. I mean, look, I got to
Rough.
throw a hats off though, because that is impressive pacing. I mean,
I
that
know.
is
Four
dedication
at
to the
24
craft.
sounds like a TLC show.
You are going, girl.
Yeah.
Wow. Unfortunately, they're limping by financially. And there's a rather toxic little flow here where basically the sister begs the parents for money and the parents don't even have money. So then OP has to lend to the parents who lend to the sister.
Seems
Um,
indirect.
right? We hate to see this.
Yeah.
So then it cut to Easter. OP notices that sis isn't drinking and she's like, oh boy,
Mm.
I think we know what this is. So then the sister's like, is everything all right? And OP tries to play it off. And, basically it comes out. She's having another baby. And OP's like, can you guys really afford another baby? And then she snippily replies, the sister, God will provide like he has so far, which pissed
Oh,
OP off.
wow. Fuck that.
So then there's a huge argument. Everybody points guns at OP.
I would basically be like, oh, so I'm God. Great.
Right? It's been radio silence except for one text from mom saying that if sister miscarries, it's OP's fault.
Gross. Disgusting.
And appears there's no basis for this. So this was just a random thing because then she
I
asked if
mean,
sister was
obviously
showing
there's no
symptoms.
basis for it.
Kiwi 82 NTA. Next time your mom says, oh, your sister needs money and you need to give it, just say no. Sister said God will provide. So I'm giving him a turn,
Yeah,
or
man.
her,
Or her.
or them.
Yeah.
But my thing here is this is like another kind of like leveraging people do,
What do you mean?
It's manipulative, right? Because then you're kind of changing the goalpost and you're like, oh well, this is God will provide. And it's like, okay, well, you're allowed to believe in God. Now you've brought God
Who's
into this.
manipulating? The sister?
Yeah, by bringing in God, right? Because it's like, in a way it's gaslighting, right? Because it's like you're basically saying like I'm not responsible, so you're abdicating responsibility for your situation. And then you're also setting sister up where if sister's like, well, actually I've been giving money, and then you can do that whole thing of like, well, now you're attacking my faith. And it's like, well, you brought that up. You
Mm.
attempted to use that as a shield, and so then this becomes another just kind of way of like, no, you're wrong. And it's like, well, no, you did that. I didn't bring that up. I didn't attack your faith. You brought up something irrelevant, and now when I respond to it, you've used this to position yourself in a way. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess I don't think it's logical at all. So
Yeah. Well, no, I'm going
it's
farther. I'm
stupid.
saying it's not just illogical, it's manipulative in a way, because then you can leverage that and be like, just because
Yeah.
you don't believe in God and you're an atheist, and it's like, no, literally, no, you brought up God.
She doesn't
Nobody
even
was.
have to be an atheist to not believe that like manna is going to fall out of the sky. Like that happened in the Bible one time. It's not going to happen for you, Janice. Like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
You could even be religious and still realize
Totally.
that like, yeah, money's not going to fall out of the sky for you.
Totally. Totally.
Um, unless you're stealing from the tithe or whatever, then I guess God
Yeah.
does provide in that
Then
sense.
God does kind of help you there if you're a
Yeah.
thief.
Okay. Here we go. AITA for keeping money gifted to the bride and groom on their wedding.
Interesting. Keeping money given to the bride and groom on their wedding. Damn. Um that is crazy. I mean, I just feel like you're up to no good here, because that would be obviously wrong, but something crazy must have happened. So I'm saying NTA.
NTA is wrong. So honestly, we could have covered this story because it's pretty ridiculous. But the long and short of it is OP is a bridesmaid reluctantly. And OP, the day of the wedding, OP gets diarrhea.
Oh
And
no.
OP's like, I live really close to the venue. Like, I'm just going to go home to like take care of my business. Um, and OP notices, she's in the parking lot. She notices a few envelopes on the ground. So she takes them home. And she's like, I'll give it back to him to them later.
Hmm.
In OP's diarrhea induced like frenzy to get off
Super.
her
Yeah.
dress, she rips the dress.
Oh
So she has to change before she comes back to the wedding, and left the envelopes at home. So
no.
the bride returned from her honeymoon and basically calls OP and starts lighting into her. Said she was a horrible friend for like, I don't really get where this is coming from, but
Yeah.
bride says, she said, I was a horrible friend for leaving to be such a slut that you couldn't wait an hour to blow a stranger in the parking lot. And the least he could have done was help me put the dress back on. And you're like, what? Um, so now OP's pissed.
Hmm.
OP opens the envelopes that she had, finds around $600, is considering keeping it. And basically, OP wants to know if they're the asshole. The top comment from the Mudblood Slytherin was YTA, it doesn't matter you have diarrhea. It doesn't matter you don't like her husband. It doesn't matter the dress was ugly. It doesn't matter what she said to you. You stole $600 in gifted money. There wasn't anyone you could have given the money to the day of, her parents, his. It sounds like you stole the money to begin with, the day of, with no intention of giving it back, and now you're trying to justify it.
I don't really exactly understand. So OP, why did OP get chewed out?
I don't know. I think because the OP was a bridesmaid, I guess she dips from the wedding midway. The bride doesn't know that she's having diarrhea. She dips from the wedding, comes back in a different dress, and then also, I guess, stole her gifts.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always a great read on someone if you have a conflict, even if it's a huge one, a friendship ender, whatever it may be, but
Mhm.
you maintain fairness. That just shows what kind of person you are, you know?
Yeah. I mean, diarrhea or not, even though the bride was horrible to her and like slut shaming her, baselessly,
Right.
doesn't give you the right to steal $600 from other people.
This sounds like an everyone sucks here.
I know, but the comments were overwhelmingly YTA.
But the bride was so mean and slut
Yeah.
shaming.
I see two ESHs.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Freaking Reddit. All right, guys. Well, please rate, review, subscribe, join us on Patreon. You get it. Our second story of the day, El Dia. I'll do it. AITA for deleting my younger brother's secret stash of intimate
Hmm.
photos.
Who could you be?
Ooh,
Okay.
boy. But first, people, I'm excited about this one. It's AITA for ordering pizza at a vegetarian wedding.
Pizza can
Ah,
be vegetarian
well,
easily.
yeah, well, the crust, you got the cauliflower crust. It's,
What do you mean? Regular pizza is vegetarian.
oh, vegetarian. Yeah, I guess you're right. I, 36M, was a groomsman for my friend's Sarah's. Ooh, that's fun.
I did not choose
34.
this on purpose.
This is Sarah's wedding. This past week, I'm only acquaintances with the groom, but because I've known Sarah for nearly 20 years, she wanted me in the party. I'm on medication for anxiety and depression that has to be taken at a certain time of the day and also requires food. So I asked Sarah what time the food would be served. Now, this is a vegetarian wed. I'm not veg, but I have no problem not eating meat for a meal, especially when it comes to supporting my friend. The only issue I had was when I found out the size of the meals. The entire course consisted of a side salad, a side of corn, and a side of broccoli.
That's insulting.
I mean, is this a wedding for chickens? If this were only for a few hours, no prob. But because the wedding party has to arrive before everyone, between the ceremony and shuffling through the reception, the whole event was going to be over 8 hours. And I knew there was no way a small salad and a few tablespoons of corn and broccoli were going to hold me. I'm 6'2", 185 pounds.
Guess what? I'm 5'2" and like 110 pounds, and I would be hangry. So
Yeah.
this is I'm hangry now at these fucking people.
I'm 5'8" and 170 pounds and very inadequate. Wait, what were we talking about? Okay. When Sarah told me what they were serving, I said something like, "Oh, will there be another entree?" And she immediately got defensive. So I hushed myself before causing any further
OP's just
tensions.
like, hush.
I think that's pretty responsible. I'm on OP's side so far. Normally, I would have been straight about all this, but I could see she was already stressed and didn't want to add to it. So I decided during the reception dinner that I was going to covertly order a pizza, meet the guy outside, and just sneak in and out here and there to grab a few slices from my car. Told my friend this, and of course, word
Uh,
got around to the other party members. Turns out I wasn't the only one who was uncomfortable going so many hours with so little food. So by the time I placed the order, there were about 12 other people, all from the wedding party, throwing down. I ordered 4 larges and kept them in my car so people would just kind of come and go and grab some whenever they were hungry. Nobody really seemed to notice until Sarah couldn't find the groom. She had her mom help her find him, and as you can guess, she found him out by my car eating pizza.
caught red-handed.
There we go. Yeah, red, yellow, tan, all the colors. Well, to say she blew up was an understatement. She said I embarrassed her, made her feel cheap, said I only did this because it was a vegetarian wedding. 3 of the pizzas had meat on them.
That's
I
an interesting
might be
aspect.
able to throw a ding there.
I think so. That's a little
Right? He
tacky.
should have kept with the spirit. I tried to apologize, explaining the sitch, but she was having none of it. The other party members that were eating the pizza were silent. I was thrown to the wolves. Of course, they were,
Mm,
those bloody cowards. She
yes.
told me to leave while her mom stared daggers. It's been 4 days and she hasn't responded to me. Her husband did reach out to apologize for the confusion. The majority of her friends, some who even ate pizza, are telling
Come
me I'm an
on.
asshole. And
Criminal.
what I did is unforgivable, as she'll always remember her wedding as not being good enough because of my stunt. AITA.
Okay, if I want to mount the like slightest of charges against OP, I think that the pizza should have been ordered like well before the wedding, and I think it easily could have been because you when you're there for the wedding party, you have a lot of time before the wedding, and like
But
I feel like
Sarah,
you didn't have to wait to interrupt the reception to order your pizza. That's like maybe one of the only small charges, and even that is
hold
maybe
on a second.
stretching.
I don't know about this charge. Where are you understanding between the ceremony and shuffling to the reception? I knew there was no way. Da 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 da. I decided during the reception dinner that I was going to covertly order a pizza. Oh yeah, that is a little weird. They
Like, you
waited
kind of
really
knew
long.
beforehand that this was gonna be insufficient, so I think there was a way that could have been spun, like, "Hey, I'm gonna order lunch for the bridal
That's
party."
how I imagine this. Yeah, I misread it. Okay, yeah, that I think that's a valid ding, and I think I can also ding OP for just he could have just gotten vegetarian pizza.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you really say that you can go a meal without eating meat, put your money where your mouth is a little bit,
Yeah, and
and
it
you don't
just
have
would
to
have
get
been
pepperoni at the vegetarian wedding.
exactly, and it would have been kind. And I think Sarah, OP, OP's bride in question, would have maybe perked up to this. That
She would have had,
said,
like, less. Not that she has ground to be upset about this, but I think if she were upset, it would have been much more about her actual fuck up. Do you know what I mean? Like, she wouldn't have been able to deflect onto
exactly.
something else if he had just ordered vegetarian pizzas.
Yeah. I mean, part of me sees Sarah's side more than anyone because, not more than anyone, but like, look, in the end, it was her wedding. She felt some way about it. I feel like we've done 4 billion wedding situations.
Never stops.
And
They're my favorite ones to do, I think.
look, is the term bridezilla an accident? I once had a stand-up joke. Why is there no male equivalent? We never hear about El Grumacabra. But the,
I've
the,
heard
th-
groomzilla though as a term like gaining in popularity.
There we go. I mean, they're out there. I had a friend who was very picky about his wedding, and you know what? It was the best wedding I've ever been to. So shout out to him.
Someone has to be the one who
Um,
cares about stuff. So
yeah, he fucking crushed it. So I don't know. I don't like her, but look, I give her more time to process this and get over it. I can understand why she's huffed even 4 days later because it's a wedding for I think for a lot of
mhm.
people, wedding is like the biggest celebration of their life, and I'm giving her some some space to grow and accept that
Right.
this really wasn't that big of a deal. My main
That's it.
problem is
Yeah.
this cowardly, pathetic wedding party that fed from the pizza, and probably some of them. I don't think we can lay all the meat ordering charges on OP because
Oh,
these
yeah.
MFs went hard.
Yep.
Everybody wanted a pizza.
Yep.
Everyone was in on Pizza Gang, and then you're going to lay it
Pizza
all
gang.
on the orderer, and that's
That's fucked
horseshit.
up.
And you all are a
Yeah,
bunch of
that is
cowards.
I agree.
Cowards.
Completely spineless. I mean, I will say that here's the thing, like weddings are expensive and I feel like we got a little bit of not even backlash, but we got one comment for our wedding comments in the bonus episode. Um, but weddings
Oh
are
yeah, I'm anxious
expensive.
about that.
I'm not.
So
I'm not.
Sarah and I kind of went off because this person had only 15 guests at their wedding, while their partner wanted 175 guests. And I jokingly called the person with only 15 friends in their whole life a loser. And then one of our patrons, our dear patron, was like, well, I feel awkward listening to this as we just had our wedding and there were 30 people there. So
Yes, but
15
like
on
I
each
think we
side.
talked about this. Like it's way different to make a conscious choice to have a micro wedding than to only have 7 friends in your life.
Right.
Like
Yeah. And I'm
that was
sure
it.
they're
That was it. Because
popular.
also half of the bride's 15 people were her family,
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
half. So it's like,
Being selective is cool.
yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah, you're
great.
right.
But yeah, only having a few friends is like a little bit eyebrow raising. But back to this situation, I mean, I know that weddings can be expensive and there is a way to save costs on food, but this isn't it. Like just do past appetizers and communicate that beforehand. And this is just not
Totally.
it. Like, I think that's, I don't know, I think this is like kind of fucked up to do to everybody, especially if you're going to get sanctimonious about it.
Exactly. And that's I think what I was trying to get with when we were talking about the religion thing earlier. It's like this is a thing that is being effectively politicized, even though I think OP also could have played politics, but it's like this wasn't about vegetarianism. This was
No,
about
it's about the fact that you didn't give people food
you didn't give them enough
for
food.
8 hours. Like, come on.
And I
I'm also
mean,
like, what kind of venue would offer this? Like, truly. What kind of venue is like, oh yeah, just feed your guests like literally side vegetables. That's
that's
our meal
true.
option.
I can lay some blame on them. That's just not
Yeah.
enough.
What
That's not
caterer
enough
is doing that?
calories.
It's not. Like, I mean, you could even just go to like Costco and get a cheese and meat platter, I feel like, and that would be better.
For real. I mean, she kind of failed to have foresight. I could actually lay a little blame on the venue though, and the planner and stuff like that. It's not all
I
on OP,
yeah.
but
I guess I just don't know like who would not who would allow it because I feel like at a certain point when people are paying, you have to let them do what they want, but who would offer this as an option? Like
yeah, and who didn't
that
raise
part's
this
weird.
flag?
Yeah, that part's weird to me that you're like, "Oh yeah, here's our vegetarian menu. It comes with a side of starvation." Like,
Right,
what is
right.
this?
7 Brussels sprouts
Yeah,
and the thought of protein
right.
is one entree, and the other is broccoli and the concept of fulfillment.
There we
So
go.
that's what we have.
And
Nonetheless, I don't
that will
know.
be $75 a head.
Yeah, right. So I don't know where we land though. AITA for ordering pizza at a vegetarian wedding. I honestly, I think we do have some dings on OP, but I think I am kind of leaning NTA and then the
I would give them a
criminals here.
hangry pass, frankly, because like
Right?
did what you got to do.
That's not really food. Side salad, side of corn, and a side of broccoli.
That's upsetting. I'm also
That's not
imagining that none of the
food.
shit is seasoned. You know their side salad is like iceberg lettuce and one tomato slice.
For real. And I'm like, I'm really like, I'm here. I'm like, what? How many calories can that really add up to? Like, we're talking about 200. Like,
Yeah, a
I don't even
couple
know if you can get to
hundred.
200. Like, with the dressing, then you're what? You're going
Yeah.
to eat dressing? That's not
Yeah.
filling.
No.
And yeah, so I think we agree, not the asshole and the bride, and mainly the cowards, the cowering
Yes.
cowards. What a bunch of monsters. Fuck
Yeah,
them.
sucks.
And Reddit agreed with us, and it went NTA. All right, people, friendly reminder, rate, review, subscribe. We really appreciate it. Join us on Patreon, bi-weekly happy hours. Our Discord is popping off. You love to see it. Free stickers still popping. AITA Pod, AITApod.com for your stickies. And passing the mic to Sara for our next sitch.
AITA for deleting my younger brother's secret stash of intimate photos.
Oh boy.
I was using my brother's laptop the other day. He's 23 and kind of an asshole. When I searched for some important documents that I just downloaded, I stumbled across a folder that said bank_statements, but I saw that it was about 1.2 gigs. It's kind
Wow,
of a
kids doing
lot.
a lot of banking. This is
I
a
know. The Panama Papers, is he the crypto king? Like, what?
this guy has got some data.
Right. I obviously knew he did not have 1.2 gigabytes of bank statements. So when I clicked on it, I saw that he has, I don't know, about 50 to 100 photos and like a dozen videos of people I recognized, all his ex girlfriends. And yeah, it doesn't need saying what kind of photos they were. Eesh. I thought this was really sleazy. I'm
Mm.
sure he didn't have their permission, and I deleted the entire folder, backup, and more.
Mm.
When he found it, and surprise, surprise, he found out like that evening, he went ballistic and accused me of stealing the photos for myself and being a perv. Talk about projection. I gotta agree there. I simply asked him whether he had permission. He said it's none of my business, and I'm forbidden from using his laptop or his car, apparently. I don't want to know what's in that glove box. Even though our parents bought us both those things, I don't feel like that's relevant. But OP says
There we go.
AITA here. I'm in half a mind to actually reach out to his exes to make sure they know what I saw. Yikes.
This is juicy for me because, I think what OP did was a wrong as well. She was snooping. She was snooping on his shit. That's not really
But I
okay,
feel like that's inconsistent because you've literally said to me before that if you snoop on your partner's phone and you find evidence of them cheating, it absolves the wrong of snooping. So by that
Well, hold on
logic,
a second. But I
you
think
said
that
that
was,
to me.
yes, I did say that. I'm not denying that I said it. I'm saying that's different. I'm saying that's smelling what's cooking. She didn't smell what was
Oh,
cooking.
come
She was
on.
snooping. She
That
was
seems really
snooping.
like splitting hairs.
I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's a brother and a sister. I think, okay, let me put it this way. Let's suppose that I'm an IP lawyer and you're my girlfriend, and I go onto your computer and I see bank statements, whatever, and the file's too big, or I'm like, what, she has 800 folders, and I open it and it's you downloaded all these PDFs of books, and this is actually a collection you built over the years, and I delete all of those because I know that's in violation of IP law. Would you say that's okay?
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
illegal. You're doing something illegal, so it's wrong.
Here's the thing. For me, I'm like, who's hurting from copyrighted books?
Who's hurting?
But
How are
who's
the
hurting
exes
from
hurting?
revenge porn? Like the people.
Whoa, no, see, you're leaping now. There's no
I don't think
revenge porn
so.
here. These are files on his local machine. So you're throwing you are extending that into revenge porn. There was no evidence that this was revenge porn. He was holding the photos, but it wasn't revenge porn. I don't think that's a fair characterization. I don't think that's what people say when they mean revenge porn. They mean a website that's publicly accessible. That's the vengeance, that it's publicized.
It depends if he's keeping it with their consent or not. And I'm kind of going to think not.
I mean, I guess I'm curious, but I personally don't do this for like 1,000 different reasons. But um, I've broken up with people that I have nudes with. They've broken up with me, and I've never had a formal conversation that said, you need to clear out all the nudes. I personally don't hoard them in a centralized location because that seems crazy to me. And
So you
also,
just decentralize them? They're
yeah, they're on the
Bitcoin?
blockchain.
Yeah, like what?
No, I don't. Well, I guess I actually, technically, I would suggest that I do still have them. I mean, I have iMessage chains that are really old. I could probably go find some crazy pictures on there because I didn't like audit all my texts after the
Right.
relationship.
That's kind of one thing if you like probably still have something just by virtue of it saving on your phone and you not going through and deleting it, but like this guy's keeping a bank. I mean, I literally have had a conversation with someone that I was like hooking up
Yeah,
with before that's like, when this ends, like you got to delete all your shit. I'm deleting all my shit. And I
right.
do think it's a common courtesy if you're kind of saving it, like you said, in any organized manner. I don't think that anyone, I mean, I think it's one thing to not like expect someone to go through your old text chain and like delete all that
Right.
backup, but if you know that you're keeping it somewhere, you should delete it. I think that's the common unspoken rule. I've been watching a lot of Curb, so I'm very big on unwritten rules right now.
I think so. I'm generally with you. I think it's the right thing to do, and I'm not trying to say that it's okay to do this. I mean, look, I think it's psychologically unhealthy. I'll also suggest that, if I've gone through a breakup with someone, I'm not
I
gonna.
hate them. Like I don't
Yeah,
want to get
it's
off to them. Like fuck you.
yeah, for the most part. Yeah, it's like
And it's
not.
going to create like so many problems if you ever get into a relationship with somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the other aspect is, I'm like, well, there's always a risk I could be hacked. And so if I collected those
That's
files, then it could
true.
very much manifest into revenge porn. Somebody else could grab them and use them as leverage against you. I mean, there's always a fear
That's
you could
definitely
get
true.
compromised. But again, I return kind of to my question here. And I think this is, how much can we ding? Because this is interesting, right? Because look, I think we pretty much agree on everything. This isn't an okay thing to do, but it's not revenge porn, and it's not very smart. But really, who is the victim here? I would suggest that really nobody was necessarily harmed. I'm giving this pervert the benefit
Well,
of the
it's kind
doubt.
of like if you do, it's like, I guess that's the thing. If a tree falls in a forest and doesn't make a sound or whatever, and nobody's
Exactly.
there, I kind of think that OP, I don't know what good it would do to tell, for OP to tell the women, because like
Oh,
OP's deleted it. I think OP solved the problem. I think telling them would just make them feel violated. Do they deserve to know? That could be an argument.
yeah, for the
But it's
future.
kind of like, right, it's just kind of like, but what's the damage you're gonna cause, like, in the process of doing the right thing? And I don't know, like, it's a really tough one.
I don't think there's any reason to tell these gals, but I think it's okay to tell them. I mean, I
Right.
suspect that some would say something kind of moderate, like I'm saying, relatively few, and most would be like, "Well, I'm happy you deleted them." But like, I think there is a gray area here because, like, I don't. I agree with you. It's common courtesy. I agree that anybody would be skeeved out at, I put all the photos of my exes into one folder. That's like, you applied an organizational system to this.
Yeah,
That's fucked up.
right. Like,
But
your
like,
creeping was methodical. That's not good.
yeah, yeah. Whereas like if I were to go into one of my old texts and find some goods there, I don't know, that just feels a little less gross.
I
But
think one is definitely like, I mean, I think not really intent, but it's like one is deliberate and the other one is just kind of like happenstance.
it's systemized. I think that's where this
Yeah,
crosses into a bad taste vibe, that it's so systematic, right? Like, I think if it's like, look, I think we all go into our spank banks, men primarily, and we might seek a photo of an old ex and dig in a text chain, and that's not okay, but nobody would ever know. And it's also like, I don't know, it feels a little more personal, right? Like, you're going to a specific text. This is one individual, but then it's also, there's a commodification happening that I think makes this feel gross, where it's like, this is just
right.
all your exes, all the nudes of women you have. It's like,
And you
damn,
can't,
dog.
and it's just, you can't imagine that they consented to that.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's weird ground because we're talking common courtesy. So do you need consent to store the photos that were already sent to you? So am I doing something wrong by not auditing my text chains? It's like, I don't know. I'm not
I don't know.
comfortable making
It definitely
consent a
feels
factor.
different if someone's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hoard all the photos that you sent me and keep them in this folder."
Yeah, well, it's not the hoarding, it's not the saving, because I'm sure we both have nudes on our phone in some text chain.
I think deliberate saving versus
It's structuring.
having like still have
Yes,
them,
yes,
it definitely makes a
organizing.
difference.
Yes,
Like,
I think sometimes being too organized and too structured about a certain thing, it plays
because
very
also like if
poorly.
something's in your text chain, that's not saved to my camera roll.
But it's still saved on your device in a place where you can go look at it.
Theoretically,
Not theoretically, actually, right? It's the structuring that makes this gross. She would never be able to tell that he was doing that anyway, because she'd have to
I
dig
mean,
into
yeah,
a text chain.
I feel like we're on the same page. To me, it's just like how deliberate and plotted out it is. So yeah.
Yeah, it's deliberate and plotted out, and I think that's why I have to come back to my IP lawyer example, because this is all I'm wondering is, can I land any charges on the privacy aspect here? She was poking around on his computer. This does seem like something. She did obviously have permission to be on the computer, so that wasn't a violation. She saw a folder, and she could have seen the size of the folder without any kind of digging. But she clicked into something that obviously wasn't for her. I mean, let me say this: it's not okay to look at someone's bank statements, and there could have just been a random folder in there. Like, sometimes you download a file and it's like whatever, an
It could have
install
just
or
been
something.
regular porn.
It could have been regular. Exact. There we go. Now you have it. You made the argument for me. What if it was regular porn, which there would have been nothing wrong with? Now you're looking at his porn, looking at his porn habits. You would have seen titles and stuff. You're snooping. This is
That's
snooping.
weird. You don't need to know that about your brother.
Exactly. You were snooping. I got to put a light ding. Whereas when I've said this in a cheating context, Sarah, that's in the context of you could smell you were getting micro cheats or whatever, micro emotions that you were picking up on, weird things. And then finally you break down and you're like, I'm going to look at this person's text overview and see if there's a suspicious text. She had no probable cause. She just saw a big folder. I don't think
I
a
mean,
big
the
folder.
probable cause was just seeing something that didn't really add up.
But like I said, it could have been anything. It happened to be something that I think was fine to delete. But my more issue is the snooping around. And I got to put a light ding on that. And that's why on this matter, AITA for deleting my younger brother's secret stash of intimate photos. And you're telling me she didn't look at any? I think she had to have. How could she have known that they were exes? You're telling me the file names? No, give me a break. She looked at some of the photos. She did. She had to have.
Well, you had to
That
have looked at them to know what they are.
exactly. And that actually means that they were distributed, not by him, by her, and by her Snoopy Snoops.
Oh my god, that just seems like a reach.
What's the reach, Sarah? She went in
They're
and
not
looked at the photos.
distributed.
Well, they weren't distributed, but she snooped, and that's how she got it. Nobody had access to them. I think it's a big leap. I think it's a big leap to assume that this OP was revenge porning. I think he had a spank bank. I think it's disgusting. I think he's an asshole for doing it. I think this is unhinged behavior. I'm with you there. But she snooped, and that actually led to her seeing nudes of these women, and for that, I have to ding her. I think I'm hoping I can bring you on for this. I think that's not okay.
I don't think that they're equivalent. So to me, it just feels like the charge. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like the charges are like equivalent.
She looked at the nudes that were never intended for her. That is more of a violation of consent, plus her brother's consent, that you wouldn't snoop around the computer, which I think
I
is
don't
also an
think that
unspoken
any of us
rule.
are in a place to like determine what's more or less of a violation. So I can't really go with you on that.
I think what he did is more perverted. I think what he did makes him a bigger asshole, but I think what she did is not okay. I don't think it's okay to snoop like this and poke around in folders. And what if would she be an asshole had she just found normal porn? I think so.
I guess I would actually say no, because there's like no
No.
crime committed there.
Sarah, if
Not
you let
literal
me borrow
crime.
your computer, I go, Sarah, let me look something up real quick. My phone's dead. I go in your computer and I open a folder and find that you have porn there and see that, you're into porn with you know, um clowns. And now I know
My
this
God,
secret
Danny, I
about
told
you.
you that in
I'm sorry.
confidence.
No, I didn't mean to use a real example. And then I see that you have a clown thing because I opened a random folder because I said the file size was unexpectedly big. You're not going to ding me for that?
Well, then it gets into a thing of like, if you go and make fun of me for it, then yeah. But like, then if I don't know, like now I'm getting confused.
It's not okay. It was a snoop. It's not okay to snoop on people's shit. If you catch your partner cheating, then damn, you caught him cheating. Like, yes, I can justify a snoop there because the thing is that you had probable cause. You smelled what was cooking. This is just snooping. Sarah, let me use your computer. Oh, this file looks weird. Let me open this. Why does Sarah have a folder called pictures of horses? I'm the one who likes horses, not Sarah. Then I go in, oh, guess what? It's not pictures of horses. It's, you like to draw pentagrams on the floor and light them on fire, and I find out you're a witch. But that's none of my fucking business what you do. So that is snooping. I mean, I don't know what to say. If you think that's okay, then let me borrow your computer and I'll see what kind of person you really fucking are.
Honestly, go for it. You're not gonna find anything interesting.
You'll find nothing interesting on
Uh,
my computer.
Truly, you're gonna find memes.
Yeah. I think it's
Uh,
wrong to snoop though. It's wrong. Actually, you know what? If on I have my journals and stuff, and I would not want people to look at my journals, and you might say the same thing. Oh, why do you have 3,000 notes in your note app? Why am I saying this? Now everyone's going to hack me. But, I mean, what? You're going to read about how I cried about and shit? Like, it's fucking boring. But you know what I mean?
yeah.
Oh, why do you have 3,000 notes, Danny? Oh, you've kept an extensive log of all these things that happened to you. I just read a few. I was curious. It's snooping. I don't think snooping's okay. I don't think this is okay. It was none of her fucking business what was in that folder. I don't think she's an equal asshole, but I'm shocked that you would sit here and say it's okay, because it's not okay to poke into people's shit. He let her use the device. Apparently they share it. That's fine. But she went snooping. She knew it was
I,
his folder.
yes, she knew it was his folder. I mean, I don't know. It's just like, I guess I could go a light ESH, but I also feel like if she found something worse, then the ends would justify the means. And so then, like, at what point, like, it just seems like an inconsistent application of when the ends justify the means.
Well, I think that the answer is that sometimes they do, and I think probable cause is a concept for a reason. She had no probable cause. It
She's
doesn't.
not a detective. Like, she
No, but
doesn't need,
no, but
like,
legal concepts have ethical backgrounds to them, right? It's part of the law, probably because it's pretty ethically tight, right? Like that. There's a reason that is the standard. I don't think it's reasonable to poke into someone's shit. Like, let's just say let's say the folder was called journals and it was 1.2 gigs. She goes, "What the fuck is this? Journals? Who has 1.2 gigs of text?" Opens it
I think
up.
a
Guess
normal
what?
person could
Well, of course, but
feel a lot of feelings.
I'm just saying it's you don't have a right to snoop on someone's shit just because you saw an unexpected file size. I think that's ridiculous, right? Because I keep video journals, so and I'm going to release one of me crying because we hit 250 patrons, by the way, and I
Oh
said
my
I would release a video
God.
of me crying, so I edited a video. I'm going to put it
I
up
mean,
soon. But
and then in this case, couldn't you say that she smelled what was cooking? Like,
how could you say she smelled what was cooking? It's not probable
something
cause to.
seemed off and it was off.
Bank statements could have been anything. She was right that it wasn't really bank statements. I'm not faulting that logic. She still had no right to click that shit. It could have been his porn stash. It could have been his video journal stash. I don't think it's okay to go snooping around. And I'm not saying she's the same level. Look, I think we're talking in circles at this point. And I think I brought you on board for a soft ESH. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
Sure, I guess.
I think it's
Begrudgingly.
I
I
think
don't
it's
like
fair.
it. Pretty much everyone on Reddit is saying NTA. So it's just kind of like, all right.
Is anybody dinging for the snoops?
Some people, yeah, but they're downvoted to hell.
ESH, I guess, 281 upvotes. You invaded his privacy, but happenstance turns out, yeah, he's a creep. So it was the right follow up. Exactly. This is a clear ESH. She committed a clear and major violation of privacy. She had absolutely no reason or justification to snoop.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just rigid, but I kind of feel like if you're gonna, I don't know. It's just maybe, yeah. I feel like if you apply morality to certain things, there needs to be some consistency for it. And it's like, does finding something to prove you're right justify what you did or not? And to me, I'm like, I view it more black and white. Either it does or it doesn't, and not like, well, sometimes it does, but this time it doesn't because of this and blah blah blah.
Okay, so again, though, I bring you have hoarded these true crime, PDFs. And what is the harm? Well, it's technically a financial harm because you should have bought those books, but you bought them. And I, the IP lawyer, snooped on your machine. We share a computer, our home desktop, and I delete your whole folder, your precious collection, violating your privacy. You're going to tell me that that's not an asshole move, even though legally I'm in the clear and what you did was wrong.
I mean, yeah, I think it makes you kind of annoying
So you're saying it
to
would be
delete
I delete
it.
all your true crime books, and you're saying that doesn't that wouldn't make me an asshole for doing that.
I don't know. Because it's like, I guess technically it's a crime. Who's it really hurting?
Well, it's hurting the authors, right? That's money that they would have collected because you didn't buy those books.
You're
It's not
right. That is
hurting. It's
hurting the
just
authors.
well, and theoretically, right? Like, what's the quote unquote crime here, right? It's the fact that you have a lot of them in one place, right? Like what? Who's going to jump on you for having one PDF of a book you stole? I mean, God, you could accidentally download that for God's sake. But you have 800 in one place. It's a kind of a victimless crime, like not necessarily bad. It's creepy, but it's structured, so you have all of them in one place. I mean, I think they're pretty analogous. One is much creepier than the other. Nobody's like this creepy girl with all her
I
books,
guess
but
any crime is a victimless crime if you don't know that you've been like stolen from or whatever the analogy is.
I just look. I mean, this guy was looking. This guy was looking at pictures of his exes. We have no grounds to suggest it's a privacy violation, and I think that's not okay. And I would say that the IP lawyer snooping around the computer is also an asshole, and the deleting all that shit is an asshole. It's wrong to snoop. The snooping is the crime, not the deleting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can go with you that the snooping is a crime, but I think deleting it was the right thing to do.
Yes, yes, I'm with you there. It's the snoop, not the delete.
Sure. That's fine.
Okay, I'll meet you here. I'll meet you here. AITA. Okay, we're gonna bring this in nice and tight. I know some people have some issues with what I said. Okay, AITA for deleting my younger brother's secret stash of intimate photos on the title literal. We agree, not the asshole.
Yes.
But
Okay.
because of the snoop, I am proposing a micro ESH
Fine.
for her.
Fine.
No snoops. File size not enough to snoop. That's not fair. Don't be poking around people's computers.
Fine.
I think she could have called them out. That would have been clean. Hey, what's going on in this bank statements folder? I see it has a very large file size. I think that would have been fine.
He
Okay.
wouldn't have told the truth. Like, let's be real.
Maybe she looks him dead in the eye and says, tell me the truth of what's in there. Look at me. Look at me, Roger. Roger, look at me. What's in the folder?
I mean, okay.
Look at me. Don't look at the ground.
Now
look
you
at the
really
ground.
think this girl is a detective. She's
Don't look at
probable
your
cause.
phone.
Now she's a pro interrogation expert. Like, okay.
All right, fine. I'm going NTA on it. I don't want to get canceled today. All right, people. We're going to wrap up on AITA for being mad at a bridesmaid.
I think we've had this exact title like multiple times.
It happens.
It does.
AITA for being mad at a bridesmaid. I got married this past Saturday. We live in the Bible Belt in a dry county. That's where they don't drink, people.
This
She's
is
not
where
talking
they have
about
the
a
cop
desert.
at your wedding so that nobody gets fucked up.
Right. The venue we had our wedding at did have a liquor license, meaning if we wanted liquor, we had to purchase it through the venue. If we were to have brought any outside
Seems normal
alcohol in, they could have lost their license. Okay. They would have been fined. We would have been fined and had our wedding shut down. My husband and I are not big drinkers. Some of our friends are and can get quite a bit out of hand with it. So because of this, we decided not to get any alcohol for the wed. We did purchase some champagne for myself and the bridesmaids to have upstairs in our suite the morning of our wedding. We got that from the venue. Anyway, as the night is over, I'm carrying stuff out to my car and I see my car is decorated with car chalk and has beer cans hanging off of it with streamers.
Excuse me, sorry.
Only mildly annoyed because it's illegal to have stuff hanging off your car. But
God,
then,
where is this place? This sounds completely fucking joyless. You can't drink.
wow,
You can't have shit on your car.
calm down, state. But
Seriously.
then my maid of honor, we'll call her Shay, lets me know the groomsmen did this and not only had that, but they drank the beer in the parking lot. Then one of the other bridesmaids, Kate, we'll call her, lets me know Kara, the bridesmaid in question, was outside participating. I was livid. I made it very clear to all of our wedding party this was not allowed. The grooms were still present, helping clean up. I laid into them furiously. They admitted they were wrong. It was disrespectful and inconsiderate and did not expect me to forgive them on the spot. Wow, that was healthy of them.
Yeah.
Impressive, boys.
Yeah. Let's go.
I messaged Kara Sunday morning confronting her, just letting her know how I felt and disappointed. She immediately goes on the defense saying she thought alcohol just wasn't allowed inside, didn't know it applied to the whole property. Give me a break, dog.
That's not real. Come on.
Ridiculous. Then switched the story to her gaslighting me, claiming she didn't know at all. I asked her how every other girl in my party knew except for her. I 100% didn't know. I told them because I was not having my day ruined by anyone who couldn't go a single day without drinking. She blew up, called my phone, even started messaging my hubby. He told her I just needed some space and I'd reply when I was ready. Later that night, Kara started blowing me up again. Guilt trip. She's been crying all day. Can't get homework or work done. It's taking a mental toll. Please call her, talk to her. I told her again I'd reply when I was ready and that I don't think it'd be effective to talk right now.
I mean, that's perfectly fair.
Yeah, big dings for that. Sorry. Sometimes you gotta be in your own emotions, and if someone says you gotta respect that boundary.
Seriously, that's the price for like fucking up is like you have to sit with that for a while.
Yep. And what you should do is actually reflect and think about why you're in the situation you're in instead of externalizing and trying to get validation
Yes,
from that person. That's healthy boundaries.
I
Kara, dinging
agree.
you hard. She lost it, started telling me it was unfair. She was the only bridesmaid I was mad at. She's the only one that drank outside alcohol, that I was being mean, that she just wanted to talk it out right then and there. Still not respecting me when I'm simply asking for space. Then I ended with her blocking me.
It's
Classic, because I
funny.
wouldn't give in to what she wanted. All in all, it could have been a worse situation at the venue. The owner could have come by at literally any moment, the beverage coordinator, etc. They didn't, but they could have. I also feel it would have been just as disrespectful, even without the consequences, because if we wanted booze at our wedding, we would have provided it. You don't get to decide it's okay to bring booze to someone else's wedding. So AITA for being angry at my bridesmaid for drinking quote unquote illegal alcohol.
Spoiler, it was moonshine. Oh man.
Double duty.
The groomsmen did the right thing by being like, "We're sorry, but we know you're not gonna forgive us right away." And,
Super
like, frankly,
healthy.
for this girl, it's just like, you can't sit with the knowledge that one of your friends is mad at you. Like, this is like middle school. It's
Yep.
taking that much of a toll on you. That's a little bit much. And I say this as a ball of anxiety that just happens to have arms and legs. Like,
That's hilarious. Yeah, I think, but you wouldn't do this because, we talk about boundaries all the time. So I think,
no, I wouldn't do it. And like,
you wouldn't.
I am impatient and I do want to fix problems. But if it was just a lingering thing of knowing my friend was mad at me, it's just kind of like, all right, they're mad and they're probably going to get over it if you just give them space. Like, it's not like, I think this is a self fulfilling thing in a way.
It really is. If you can't respect someone's space, you are barking up the wrong tree,
Yeah.
and they're doing the right thing because if you can't respect their space, what you are actually demonstrating is one, that you don't respect them, and two, that you have really poor emotional control and you are basically
Yeah.
unhinged. And I'll say the thing, GT, GT it up,
Huh?
get therapy.
Oh,
Um,
I was like, gin and tonic? What? They're
yeah,
not allowed to drink, Danny.
right. No, I think I think with these things, and I'm pretty stern about this. If someone violates a boundary like this and doesn't respect your space, it's a nuclear event because what kind of a person gets that space and gets that distance and then still just doesn't can't accept it, can't accept the situation they're in and can't respect you, and that is
Hmm.
that's very toxic. I
Yeah.
also think when this has happened to me, and by the way, it does suck. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. I've had a friend be like, basically go cold on me and wanting space, don't talk to me basically. And or rather what happened was it wasn't so strictly defined, but you should also smell what's cooking here. I had sent a few texts and then he just didn't respond, and I was like, that to me was communicating, leave me the fuck alone, like don't double down on this.
For sure.
He had become very upset with me. I sent a few texts apologizing and he didn't respond, and I was like, to me that says I've left the ball in his court. This is not the time to double down and create a campaign. he's
Yeah.
he's basically communicating, you know don't talk to me for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Agree.
and I waited, and it was uncomfortable to wait. And that's normal. It's normal to be uncomfortable and are even more than uncomfortable, upset, devastated. You might have almost lost a friend. But I promise you, if you wait it out, they will forgive you because
I
you
mean,
are showing
it's gonna be
respect.
better. Yeah. Like, I feel
Yes.
like I've had exes do this, even in situations where I've clearly communicated, like, leave me alone, and they just can't handle it. And like
Yep.
that, you're really shooting yourself in the foot because it's kind of like if you do pull back
Yep.
and in a romantic sense, like give the person the opportunity to miss you and also prove that you are capable of respecting them,
Yep.
it's going to go a lot further than like uh satisfying your immediate impulse of like, I want to fix this now, I want you to talk to me now. Like, it just kind of, I don't know, nails puts the nails in the coffin even further that like you don't give a shit about this person, you don't respect
Yep.
them because you can't do this basic thing that they're asking you to do.
1,000,000%. Poor impulse control
Yeah.
is a very sanitized way of describing someone who is quite bound to act very monstrously, right?
Yeah.
Because we all have dark impulses, um, you know. So You've got
Yeah.
to be able to put those away, control them.
Yeah, I don't even know that that's dark, but I'm with you.
Well, inappropriate. We have the impulse that's wrong, a bad joke we shouldn't
Or
make.
yeah, or even like selfish impulses, I feel like in this
Yes.
sense, for sure.
Totally. Now she was a bit overreactive and she did kind of freak out, but whatever. She's a bride. I think she has a right to all that. And I just think
Yeah.
this friend, really going crazy, even after being shut down by other people, repeated boundary violations, AITA for being mad at a bridesmaid. I think this is a no-brainer. NTA and the bridesmaid is.
I think so too.
All right, folks. Well, that's the ep. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Please join us on Patreon. Please submit your address for free stickers. And we'll see you next Monday morning. Bye.